What would you tell somebody if they were in that place right now where the spouse has good credit for whatever reason, and they have a partner who's sort of not as invested because there's magic there?
Find a way to communicate, if it's text message or it's an email or you have to write a paper letter. My objective is I would like to build this relationship with you in money and get to a point where this isn't a point of contention. And I would like to pay off the debt. Are you in or out? Emotionally, it's very difficult. If you just say, I want to get out of this debt and I would like your help and I would like you to be my partner in this, the end goal is so much bigger than all of the little fights. There is hope and it is fabulous on the other side.
We are still celebrating 1 million downloads of the Get the Hell Out of Debt podcast because the only person interested in popping all these balloons, frankly, is Carrie's cat. So we'll get to it. We'll clean it all up eventually.
Keeping the cats away from the balloons has been a little tricky. Thankfully, I think they're bored already. I think they're more interested in the string, actually. So perhaps I'll allow them to play with the string once I actually take them down.
Amazing. We are celebrating somebody today who got the hell out of debt. We can't wait to introduce you to Brittany so you can hear her story.
Tell us first, Brittany, how you found Erin and get the hell out of debt.
I found Erin because of my girlfriend, Amber. I hopped around in the phases, not because I'm not a good listener, but because I didn't find the book until I had already done some of the things. So it was actually really cool to start at the beginning of the book. And Erin's all like, just pretend you don't know anything. This is very evident by taking an unsubsidized loan when I was in college and having no idea what that meant. I was young and 20 and I was like, oh, they're going to give me 13 grand. And so they gave me 13,000 unsubsidized and 7,000 subsidized. And I'm pretty sure my semester cost 6,000. And I lived at home with my mom.
Yeah. Did you ever calculate the total cost of borrowing on that loan? What did you end up paying over those?
No. So I was looking to see if I could figure it out last night because I didn't finish paying off my student loans until this year. They don't have it anywhere. But I imagine I could do the math. Or find a calculator online to do the math.
Yeah, probably. It's probably, they don't really make it easy or accessible because I don't think they want you to know, like you'll make a payment and the loan keeps increasing. And I'm like, this is not real math. You can't be doing this to people. It's so corrupt.
I played around with the student loan stuff because my husband and I were lucky enough to be able to still have our jobs and have an income during the entire pandemic. So I was still making my payments to my student loans because I was like, there's no interest. Let's do this. But then they came up and they were like, well, you know, if you want the money that you paid back during the pandemic, we'll just give it back to you. That was like $10,000. So I had them give it back to me and it happened really quickly. Like they got it to me in like 2 weeks and wrote me a check for $10,000. And then I put it in a high yield savings account and it just sat there until they were like, hey, now you have to start paying your student loans and you'll be getting interest. And then I took that loan and all of the money out and then just went and paid it completely off.
When you said you put it in a high interest savings account, I was like, I've seen this movie before. It's going to be so bad. And then you went to the mall.
Terrible.
You didn't do any of that.
Nope. No, I like put it like in a separate account because like out of sight, out of mind. I would rather be controlling what's happening with this 10 grand than them just sitting on it. And I was kind of like holding out on the loan forgiveness. I would have been eligible up to 19,000 and I had the loan down to 9,000. I mean, yes, I'm capable of paying it, but if you guys are just going to give me $19,000, I might not agree with it, but I mean, I'm not going to say no. And then when I found your stuff, I call it the down and dirty instead of the quick and dirty. And I'm not sure, maybe I just like alliteration or my brain. I did a garage sale and I made like $1,000 on just absolute junk and just rallied and paid off the rest of the student loans super, super fast, which was a cool opportunity. I understand that not a lot of people have that ability, but I did. And I wasn't going to because I was like, oh, you know, I want to pay off this. I want to pay off that. And it's low interest. It was 3%. But because of your book, I was like, oh no, we're going to pay it off immediately. Immediately.
3% compounded every 4 seconds. That's the difference, right? It's like it's 3%. It's like 3% at this astronomical compound rate. Yeah.
Correct. And over like 14 years, like I started going to school in 2010. You know, that was a long time ago. My entire student loan debt was only about $50,000 because I lived at home with my mom and I worked full time. Then I paid cash for a lot of my college. But when we bought this house, I stopped doing that and I started taking out loans.
Right. I know the banks make it so easy because they're like, oh, now you have security. So we can lend you more you might need in case of an emergency, all of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm very good with numbers, but compounding interest and like the actual ramifications of what that meant.
Yeah, that's for everybody though. That's the thing we constantly hear people say, oh, I wish I'd learned this. I wish I'd learned this. I wish I'd learned this in
Yeah.
school. Yeah. The other thing is when you try and teach it to somebody in grade 7, they don't really care. So
No, there's no value there. One thing that really resonated with me. So I run a nutrition and fitness business online. And I always am like, it has to be about mindset. Like we have to fix the mindset. So my focus is nutrition, mindset, and movement, right? Like I don't actually care if you work out. I just need you to like rage clean your house, whatever it is. And so, you know, in your first chapter of the book, when you're like, I need you to get your mindset right. And I need you to move your body. I'm in, take my money. Like, where are the podcasts? And then I was just like giggling like a fool listening to you guys during the spring clean stuff. I'm here for life. Like these are my people.
So grateful. You're going to be such a great leader too going forward, like with people and their money, because it's so connected. Don't you find fitness and wellness is almost the same mindset train you have to train when it comes to money?
100%. And
Yeah.
I was unaware of the soundtracks that I had around money, you know, and it was very like money is evil. And if I make more, I have to pay more. And there was a lot. And so I did a practice where I was supposed to write a letter to money. And like it was my friend.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, money would not like me. Like I'm so disrespectful to it. Like I'm grateful for it. Like I'm grateful for its presence, but like I don't show it any respect. Okay. All right, money. We'll be friends. Let's shift this mindset. So the whole process has been really fun.
If you are listening and you are a member of the online community for Get the Hell Out of Debt, that lesson is in the portal. So you just log in to the exercises and you'll find the letter to money exercise in there. But it's so cool because it starts to shift the thing of you understanding you're in a relationship with money.
Correct.
And yeah, just like you're in a relationship with your body or your relationship with your health.
It's crazy how much the lack of money really impacts my relationship with a husband, right? Because for a long time I had this like stereotype. I was like, well, you should just be making more money. Like we're in a lot of debt and you should make more money. And the first thing I teach all of my clients is to never use the word should, right? And so when you said that in your book, I was like, never ever should we use should. So much judgment, so much blame. He would never say that to me. He would never be like, you need to go out and make more money, Brittany. And so once I got over that hump, it was very much like okay, well, what can I do? What jobs can I pick up? But we were not able to talk about money for a long time because I'd be like, hey, can you like help me make a budget? And he would like, just spend less. That's clearly not working. And we always kept our money separate. It was his money and my money because I always was raised with this narrative of like, you need to be financially independent. Don't ever be dependent on a man. Don't ever get yourself stuck in a situation where you have to stay because of the money. What I thought was a very positive narrative was not. I had to work through all of that to get to this lovely point.
Do you want more? I know you do. Why wouldn't you want more?
More what? What do I want more of?
More of this. Come hang out in the online course for Get the Hell Out of Debt. The link is in the description. You just got to click it, sign up, and we'll see you in there.
How did you actually do it? Did you have to set a meeting and you're like, listen, we're going to talk about money today? How did you do it?
So I was paying all of the house bills. So I was paying the mortgage because he wouldn't keep track of stuff, you know, like he told me I have no interest in making sure that the bill is paid. So I put it on myself to take responsibility for paying all of the bills. So I felt like I was drowning in debt because I was paying all of the bills every month. I never asked him like, hey babe, will you pay half of the mortgage, or let's get a joint checking account and put one of each of our paychecks in there and like, pay the house stuff together. Like you still have your money, I'll still have my money. But like I had totally put it all on myself. This own expectation that I had to organize it and I had to pay it. He never asked me that. Like I did that on my own. So finally I was like, I need help. This is not working. Like I'm working 2 jobs. I'm paying all of the bills. We don't have a lot of bills. My car has 300,000 miles on it, which I'm very proud of. Like I love my Tacoma. Bought it brand new. Terrible financial decision, huge interest rate, no money down, but I still have it and it's running at 300,000 miles. So I was just like, I need your help. And it was a lot of passive aggressive comments and stuff. And I was like, listen, this is about numbers. There's no emotion in numbers. Okay. How much money is coming in and how much money is going out? Like, let's do that. And so then that's how he was like, okay. And it was a lot of passive aggressive comments. That's okay. Like, as long as we just like figure the money part out, we can be passive aggressive and catty at the moment, as long as you're just like not mean. Like, I also don't like having this conversation. And it just got so much easier when he really saw that I wasn't blaming him or shooting all over him. He was much more receptive to wanting to be a part of the conversation.
You did something magical there, though. I want to point that out. And so this is just really important to note, is when we're in that tension state with our partners and everything's passive aggressive, you stayed focused on the results. It's okay if he's mean right now. Not that you wanted that. You were like, let's not be mean. Let's not, right? I could sense that you were like, hey, because you know that that's not really what he means. That's a fear coming out of him. You're getting focused on the result. And then that teaches him that it's okay to have the feelings that he has about money, and that it's not going to then make you erupt back and be like, don't speak to me that way, which then doesn't get us closer to the result. So you did something really magical there that I think a lot of people would really benefit from.
It was not easy, but there's plenty of times where I would be like, can you please make me a spreadsheet and email it to me? I don't want you to talk to me about it. Just like me some numbers. And now we're at a point, we share all of our money. I have access to all of his accounts. He has access to all of my accounts. But there is still separate stuff so that I can actually keep our budget, you know? And so I still have this underlying concern that like I'll spend his money, so that like trust in money isn't there yet. But we can like openly have a conversation about, we refinanced the house in 2020. We got an even lower interest rate than we had before. He was very open to that, which before he had not been. It was a journey. But like our marriage is so much stronger now that we worked through our conversation around money and got rid of the blame. And I took responsibility, and he is working on his narrative with money.
Okay, but you did have credit card debt, didn't you, that you paid off?
Tons.
How'd you get into trouble with the credit cards?
Rolling it from one credit card to the next credit card for my zero interest, and thinking that I was saving money that way. And then buying things that I didn't need per se, and having no budget, just genuinely having no understanding of like money in and money out. Probably was a coping mechanism. There was a lot of drinking and there was a lot of spending. And then, you know, in this whole journey, I now don't drink and I spend a lot less money, which is great. And so the credit cards were just random junk. I had a lot of animals. We had 3 dogs and 3 cats. And so, you know, a vet bill would come up, charge the whole thing with zero concern about how it was going to get paid off.
Instead of like managing your cash flow, you were looking at what your available balances were and trying to make it work that way. Yeah.
Correct. Because I was under the idea that I could charge it and pay it off every month. Right. Which I never did. And then Jason once paid off an entire credit card for me. 8 months later, I bought a brand new phone and a brand new Lenovo laptop. It was like almost $3,000. I didn't tell him about it because like he had just paid off my credit card. I was like, oh no, no wonder he doesn't trust me with money. I am the problem.
It's me. Hi, I'm the
problem. Totally.
Well, I think that what's cool about this whole journey is it's one thing to have the financial journey that you've had, but it's also really cool to have the relationship and mental journey that you've had along the way, because there's like such a maturity now to how you handle finances. What would you tell somebody if they were in that place right now where the spouse has good credit for whatever reason, but you're in this place where you're like, you know, what would you tell somebody who's kind of over functioning with money that way and under the weight of all of that? And they have a partner who's sort of not as invested, because there's magic there.
Find a way to communicate, if it's text message or it's an email or you have to write a paper letter. My objective is I would like to build this relationship with you in money and get to a point where this isn't a point of contention. And I would like to pay off the debt. Are you in or out? Emotionally, it's very difficult. If you just say, I want to get out of this debt and I would like your help and I would like you to be my partner in this, the end goal is so much bigger than all of the little fights. There is hope and it is fabulous on the other side. Like genuinely. It's so nice to be able to talk to him openly about, hey, I'm going to do this. Like, what do you think? And know that if he has qualms, that I'm like, okay, you can not agree with it and I still like it. But like, we've talked about it. Since I came with you guys, $25,000. That's since, you know, February of this year. Total, it was 47 for student loans and probably like 28 in credit card debt.
Wow. Yeah. You're probably 7-8 years away from having your mortgage paid off.
Yeah, so we only owe 155,000 on our house, and we got a 15-year loan in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And so my goal has been to pay it off by 2030.
Yeah.
So in 6 years, as long as, everything keeps going the way it was. But the cool part about this was I was stuck in a job because it was very good money and it was eating my soul, but chose not to leave until January. And then like a month later, I found the book and the program, the podcast, and have started the whole process because I still didn't have a budget. Like I'd been paying down debt, but I didn't have the budget. And now I will be going from a salary to a commission and a variable income. And I'm finally just now getting comfortable with like a budget, which is great. So it came at the perfect time because as I transition to this commission sales situation, it will be much more imperative to be aware of where all of my pennies are.
Well, you have this opportunity to grow this business in such a way now. There's no ceiling on your income. And because
Agreed.
you'll be so mindful of cash flow management, the business will be so much more abundant than probably you could have even been in a salary
Agreed.
job where you're not paying attention.
And it comes from such a better state of energy instead of like neediness. It gets to come from a place of abundance. I am like, who can I buy the book for? Like people are like, oh my God, I'm so broke. I'm like, all right, I have a book. I have a book. I want to give the gift of this knowledge and help other people shorten their learning curve because it was such a cool gift for me. And I just like randomly tripped on it. Let's be intentional, make sure everybody finds the stuff and the content because it's excellent.
We now make you a group expert, whether you like it or not, in the community. When you hit phase 3, we make you a group expert.
And that's really cool too, because then it makes you step up.
So what are some of your financial goals, whether they're in your business or personally?
Financial goals are to, of course, get the house paid off in 6 years. And I was playing put everything on a credit card for miles so I could travel free game. And while I had gotten to the point where I was paying off the credit cards every month, the mindset behind it was still very frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
It was still like, oh, I mean, I get miles for that. I'll pay for this dinner because I get miles for it. And so while I was still paying it off, it was not spending with intention. It was not being mindful of where the dollar bills are going and kind of more of that neediness. So my next financial goal is to take my husband to Tanzania in 2026 for my 40th birthday. And I would like to not finance any of it.
That's a great goal.
In addition to starting all of my retirement investments.
Yes. So good. Okay. Well, I know you're going to get there. And I was just running the numbers while you were talking. And based on what you've done so far, if you were to just keep this up, you'll be mortgage free in less than 5 years. So you don't have to worry about that today because we want to get that retirement stuff set.
I think that was the only question that I was having because for a long time we did pay extra on the mortgage. We paid like every 2 weeks to save on the interest. But then somewhere I was like, well, I could be paying down higher interest because our interest rate on the house is 2.75, which is incredible. We've had many lucky things happen that have enabled us to be where we are right now in that sense. So whether I need to put all of my extra pennies in retirement and savings and just not focus on paying down a mortgage sooner. If we wait until 2035 to pay it off, by the end, it'll be $25,000 in interest we'll have paid from this point. Do I do more retirement stuff or pay down the house stuff?
We run all the numbers based on a number of things. And one of them is that we're not just comparing the amount of interest that you're paying, but we're also going to calculate what saving that $25,000 could do if that $25,000 was invested in the marketplace over the next bunch of years too. So that's the other number we have to run to compare. So it's not always about the interest rate. And I say this because people forget to calculate the compounding of interest. So they'll look at a $5,000 credit card, 19% interest, and they're comparing it against a $200,000 mortgage at 2.75. Well, a $200,000 mortgage is bigger and therefore multiplies more rapidly than a $5,000 card, even if the interest rate is higher. So we are always looking at dollars versus interest rate. That's the comparison we have to do. The other thing is you're going to hear, if you talk to an accountant's going to tell you, well, based on where you live, don't pay off your mortgage because where you live, there's tax benefits. You can write off a portion of the interest. Well, we
Correct.
don't want to make a decision based on that, right? We want you to be financially free, but we do want to take that into consideration when we're running all the numbers as a whole. And then we want to look at what's going on with a SEP or potentially what other types of investments you qualify for that can be tax growth sheltered, meaning they'll grow tax free or allow you to really rapidly accelerate wealth, and what those look like compared to taking that money and paying down the mortgage. Now, I will tell you, everybody who's paid off a mortgage, there's something different about the way they feel and the way they walk through the world, you know? So
Yep.
it's not always about money either. Some people just have no desire. They don't care. They're like, I'll have my mortgage forever. I don't care. And I'm like, that is weird to me, but that's okay if that's you. But we sort of have to look at all of the things. But you're in a position where, based on how strategic you've been, you can be very wealthy very, very soon if you continue paying what you've been paying, except for now building wealth with that money. So that's going to be part of the fun. But the big thing is when people are trying to decide, should I pay off my mortgage or should I invest? We want to find a way to do both, but there'll be a sweet spot for each. There'll be a sweet spot for, okay, at this point, it doesn't matter if you pay any more on the mortgage because there's penalties after a certain point, or there's tipping point where you're better to put that money in something else. So there's usually a sweet spot, and then we'll know X amount now of each paycheck, 20% will go to mortgage, for example. That's a random number I pulled out of my caboose. And 80% of that extra money is now going to go to investments, but there'll be a ratio there for you. And we just have to figure out what that is.
And my husband and I do not make some obscene amount of money. Before we pay his taxes with his 1099, we barely clear $100,000, and our mortgage is $2,300 a month. And we were able to pay off a lot of debt by really nitty gritty looking at the things. It was great to really get nitty gritty and be like, no, this extra $8 can pay something off.
Yes, the little bits make a difference over the long run. And you've just pointed out, it actually doesn't matter what you earn. It really does matter where you put what you keep. That's really where the secret lies.
I love that you're part of this community. One of my very favorite things about people that actually absorb the program like you have, it's become part of who you are. And perhaps it was even an extension of what you were already doing in your own life by the sounds of things too. But when people actually say Erin's words back to me like that, I have learned it, and you are doing it and you are living it. And so thank you for being here and being part of this. People are going to learn so much from you.
Doing the mindset work around your relationship with money is integral. And it might seem hippy dippity or too woo woo for people, but it's where it's going to happen.
Your mind is the thing that's taking you to the restaurants and through the fast food drive-thrus and to the gym or not to the gym. And so the mindset piece is the piece you can't escape. So
absolutely. Things I tell people is you don't have to enjoy this. You don't have to love this. You just have to do it. It doesn't have to be fun while you're doing it. Just do it.
Yeah. Just do it. I love it. Brittany, you're one of our people now, just for the record. We're BFFs.
Thank you.
I think it was the word that Carrie really, that was when
you had me. When she started communicating with her partner, that you don't necessarily even have to do it in person. If it's easier to send an email or a text message just to break the ice, that's the way to do it. Instead of making it a confrontational thing, especially if you feel like it's not going to go well to start, just do it with a little cheeky text message just to get the ball rolling.
It allows you to really take a breath. I can't even imagine all of the times my husband has seen the 3 little dots and then they disappear. And then the 3 little dots and they disappear. While I'm trying to be just breathe. Hey, listen, if you want Brittany's results, you just join us in the online program. There's a link in the show notes. You sign up, you come, you participate. You can watch all the videos, do all the exercises she did, including writing the letter to your money and improving your relationship with your finances. Obviously, the book is probably the best place to start. It's like a textbook or a guide to how to do things. But if you are somebody who prefers learning in community with other people like Brittany, you can join us online. There's videos and all kinds of other accessories for your learning there too. The link is in the show notes.
The fact that people do a little bit of everything, I think, are the ones that probably get the most out of this, is when they are choosing to read the book at the same time as doing the online course, or they're, listening to you on Audible while they're also then going to watch a video. It really just hammers home all the stuff that you teach if you can sort of get it from all of these different avenues.
And isn't it weird that this podcast with these 1 million downloads started as a companion to the online course, because they were all saying we just want more, we just want more. So I was like, oh, maybe podcasts and stuff. And we tried that, and here we are. So thank you all for listening. We really appreciate you.